Ohio gozaimasu. Guten Tag. Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm not sure where you're tuning in from. This is with Dr. Mom Live, Moving Forward, my Moving Forward series. And today I'm going to be talking about being consistent. What does that mean? Or I guess, do we need to be consistent when we're moving forward? It kind of makes sense though, doesn't it? I mean, in my opinion, but maybe not in everyone's. So that's what I'm talking about today. So my Moving Forward series is about moving forward in our life. During my 101 starting videos, I worked with a bunch of people on Facebook, a lot of good friends, I should say, on Facebook. And we kind of came up with, in order to move forward, you need three main principles. You need to really have a strong foundation. You need to set goals. And you need to work constantly on professional development, personal development, self-development, things like that. Constantly work on that. So, and part of that is, part of the tiers of those three is working on spirituality, family, friends, and then also self is a big part of it. Working constantly on self, because honestly, you have to be strong to move forward. So you have to have a strong foundation. You have to be in forward movement, is what I think about it. Hopefully my kitty will let me work on this today without much interruption. My dog Sookie got to go to daycare today and get a bath, so she's not going to be here. So she was super excited. I take her, they have a place called the Pocatello Pet Lodge, and it's incredible. They're so good with her. And she loves it. It's her treat. So, all right, let's get a move on. All right, so today it seems like being consistent in order to move forward, in order to work on your foundation and your goal setting and working on yourself, consistently has a lot of quotes. And because I love quotes so much, I did grab a few of them. One that I'm always saying, and I've been saying this, constantly for my bodybuilding piece. So I constantly say, you are what you consistently do. And I'd heard that before. So I did look it up. It's a little different than what I thought it was. There's a little more to it. I just always say, when I'm at the gym, I'm always saying, you are what you consistently do. And if I do this enough time, if I keep going every day, 5-6 days a week, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. I'm going to be a bodybuilder. So you are what you consistently do. I also did that working through all of my many years of education. If you want to become educated, if you want to change your life, if you want to move forward, you have to keep moving forward in education, because that for me was self-development, and that helped me immensely. So, okay, this is the actual quote, and I'm going to say it's anonymous, because at this point I'm not sure who originally came up with it, but it says, we are what we consistently do. Choose your habits wisely. They define you. And I actually like that better even than, just we are what we consistently do. I'm going to scoot this way out of the sun a little bit. So that's what that one was. The second one I really like, and it's Lincoln Shafi. Trust is built with consistency. And as I was thinking about this today, what I'm going to talk about, that's the one thing I kept going back to. So because I told you that I'm going to be on here every day at 1 o'clock, that's why I have to do that every day at 1 o'clock. I have to constantly do what I say I'm going to do. Because if I don't do that, you're not going to trust me. And without trust, we're in trouble. I'm not going to build anything. I'm not going to have, my business isn't going to grow. You guys aren't going to trust me. You're not going to subscribe, like, and ring the bell and spread the word about Dr. Mom unless I'm on here when I say I'm going to be. Unless somehow I'm not helping you in some way to move forward. And if I don't keep doing it, I'm not going to get way, way better at it. And I promise you, I'm going to get way, way better at it. So we are what we consistently do. So consistency to me is everything. And it does matter. It matters a great deal. So here's another one. And guess who this is from? Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. And he's one of my favorite people. So he says, success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success. Greatness will come. I really like that. I like it a lot. Another one, this was anonymous as well, but I really like it. Consistency is what transforms average into excellence. Boy, when I think of that, I think of sports, you know what I mean? All the really big sports. I mean, I love sports. I didn't go on. I started playing when I got out of high school, you know, basketball and things like that, but I didn't go on to do great things in sports. I kind of got burnt out in high school and I still do. Like I'm going to do a bodybuilding competition. That's good, right? But I didn't go on to do professional sports. But without consistency, even when I was in high school and things like that, I had to consistently practice to be good. You know, I played a lot of sports. We had to practice all the time to be good at it. So we are what we consistently do. Choose your habits wisely and they define you. So one of the things I'm thinking about, I guess, that you have to have consistency is learning a foreign language. And I'm getting close to, this summer I'm planning on learning Spanish. Because I studied Japanese for 3 years, and then I went to Japan for a semester, and I got pretty good at it. But when I was in Japan, when I first went there, I kind of had to go back a few grades. It was kind of embarrassing because when I was studying here at the university, they didn't make you memorize all of the alphabet, and you kind of were able to use cheat sheets. That's not a good idea because when I went there, I had to go back and start memorizing everything. And the way I did it is she would assign 200 words a week we had to memorize, including kanji, which is the really beautiful Chinese symbols. So we had to learn that. There's 3 alphabets. We had to learn the 3 alphabets, and they use the alphabets interchangeably. So kanji is from Chinese. The Japanese culture, they don't like to combine. Like their culture has one way of doing it. Chinese, they brought symbols in, and then everybody else's language that they brought in is called hiragana, and then katakana is the actual Japanese language. So when they write out a sentence, and probably more than ever, they'll combine all 3 because they use sort of all 3 of them because they've gotten more into slang than ever. It used to be not so much, but anyway, in order to learn and I think about that with music too. Music and any kind of foreign language, you're going to have to constantly do it. You're going to have to constantly memorize. You're going to have to constantly talk the talk. And even when I was there and I'd taken 3 years of Japanese, Honestly, I had to be submerged in the culture with the people and talk. The strongest I became at it is I went to spring break in Okinawa, and I met up with some kids that were traveling around the island, and they kind of adopted me and took me everywhere with them. And by the time I was done, after a week, I was speaking really fluently. In fact, it was really hard for me to speak regular English again, which is another weird thing, right? So you are what you consistently do. So let's see. That's okay. I have one more, and then I'll get on to some of the other stuff I'm doing. But this is from John C. Maxwell, and he says, motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. That's the law of consistency. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how many opportunities you receive. If you want to grow, consistency is the key. I really like that one too. And I think there's this other quote that I remember from one of my classes, and it's many years ago, and it always stuck with me. I really liked it. And I believe, if I'm saying it right, it's something about how luck is when hard work and opportunity meet. I think that's good. I think that's what it was. Luck is when hard work and opportunity meet. So, okay, that's kind of what we're talking about today, how to move forward in your life. You have to stay consistent. Make a plan, set goals, and then work on yourself consistently. And once you get all those things set up, once you get those habits formed, it's not going to be that hard to keep doing it. I found that with the gym. So as long as I keep going on a weekly basis, I'm good. So, I miss it. Like, I don't know how to not go now. But during COVID, I wasn't going because everything was shut down, right? And so I just found another way of working out by going outside and walking. But it took me then, when the gym opened again, it took me a long time to get into that habit again. And I was so tired and, groggy in the mornings. And so habits are a funny thing. And I did find an article that I thought was pretty good. This one's on habits and how they form and how to break them. So I think in this case, they're talking about bad habits, but you can use it on forming new habits. So in this one, they're talking about how habits actually form. And what I really wanted to look into is what happens in our brain, because I love learning. I think it's fascinating to study chemicals of the brain and how even things we eat, hormones, how hormones are adjusted, like all those things I find fascinating. It's really about I've been following Dr. Huberman. I have to put him in the link so you can go and follow him. He's a neuroscientist, and he's just fascinating, all the studies that they're doing at Stanford University on the brain, and honestly how the brain works. I wish I would have known that years ago about hormones, right? About how, for me, I don't know about everybody, for me, how important the food I eat and the water I have, how much water, sleep is huge, how that affects my hormones. I wish I would have known that. Like, I'm super allergic to gluten and sugar. I am not good with sugar. I can't have any like it. Well, I not to say that I don't have any, but I try to keep my carbs at a pretty low minimum. And I feel great. I don't have migraines anymore. I can't, alcohol, I'm pretty allergic to that. If I have any, even a small amount, man, it just gives me, I can get a migraine instantly from it. So I try to stay away from it, which isn't fun at times, but it's good for me too. So I'm also doing bodybuilding. So I'm trying to lose body fat, and drinking's not good for that. So I'm off of everything. Okay, so how do habits form and how do we break them if we want to, or how do we continue being consistent at them? So they say routines are made up of a three-part habit loop, they call it. A cue, a behavior, and a reward. So a cue, a behavior, and a reward. So I had to break the habit of, and I'm still working on it, rewarding myself with food or alcohol or anything that way. Especially, I have certain ones that are red lights for me that I love to reward myself. One is chips. I do like a really good chocolate something. And I do like certain drinks. Now I'm not really a hard drink person. I like hard alcohol, but I'll drink something like a White Russian that's got a lot of, tastes like Tootsie Rolls to me. I don't just drink straight shot type stuff. So, and I do like really good, well-made beer as well. But no more for me. I'm in training mode. So see, I'm creating new habits. So understanding and interrupting that loop is key to breaking a habit. Okay, so what they want you to do is think about something it took you a really long time to learn. I would say Japanese. I got it pretty good. I was doing pretty good after a couple of years, but I needed years more. I haven't been doing it as much. I just remember a few words. A few words, enough to get me in trouble probably. So the analogy they use is how to parallel park. That's a real skill, isn't it? You know, another one that on that part, you know what the other one is? Backing a trailer into a driveway. Holy moly. I'm pretty good at it now, but it took me a long time. Like you have to think about what the trailer, so your automobile you're pulling it with is going one way. You got to think the opposite direction with a trailer, and it's crazy. So what about parallel parking? That's not easy unless you do it all the time. At first, parallel parking was difficult and you had to devote a lot of mental energy to it. But after you grew comfortable with parallel parking, it became easier, almost habitual. Well, I feel like if you do it all the time, like I'm pretty good at it, but oh my goodness, it's not an easy thing to master. It's not. So parallel parking, gambling, exercising, brushing your teeth, now that's easy. And every other habit-forming activity all follow the same behavioral and neurological patterns. This is a New York Times business writer, Charles Duhigg. So he has a new book, The Power of Habit, exploring the science behind why we do what we do, which looks really good. I need to get into that. So they go on to say, how do habits form? It turns out that every habit starts with a psychological pattern called a habit loop. So which is a three-part process. First, there's a cue or trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode and let a behavior unfold. Then there's the routine. So I would say, the cue is sort of like, okay, I need to start a new habit, or I need to stop a habit. So maybe because for some reason, I have migraines. So that triggered me to say, okay, I need to stop or figure out why I'm getting migraines and stop eating things. If it's food, it was for me. Because food has a huge impact on hormones. And it was always hormone related for me, and now that I know this, it was always food related. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, let's see. First, there's a cue or trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode and let a behavior unfold. Then there's the routine, which is the behavior itself. That's what we think about when we think about habits. So the routine, and I'll tell you what, I never realized how much of a creature of habit that I am, or routine. So routine, and I think probably a lot of us, like we probably all realized that when COVID hit last year, around this time, right? We were all into this habit of going to work, doing all the things we do, going to the gym, going to the store, going out to dinner, going to trips in the summer. I mean, all these things, and all of a sudden it hit, and wow. The third step, he says, is a reward, something that your brain likes that helps it remember the habit loop in the future. So neuroscientists have traced our habit-making behavior to a part of the brain called the basal ganglia, which also plays a key role in development of emotions, memories, and pattern recognition. See, I also want to study more on the thing of emotions. So I did get this emotion code book, Dr. Bradley Nelson, and I still haven't, it's another thing. I've got so much to do. I have to read that. But so what happens a lot when you're younger, and that's where I had some pretty bad eating behaviors. Because I think, as we grow up, I did the same thing. You get sort of rewarded with food, as children, sometimes we're like, here, have this, or and it's different now that I understand it, but I kind of grew up with that. Like a reward was, oh, yay, I get to go to the restaurant. And I still think that way. I still think, oh, it's Friday, go treat yourself to dinner and a drink. And that's not always the best thing when you're training for bodybuilding. You can't think that way, because I'm on a pretty strict diet and I don't normally eat after 1:32. And so if I do eat that late, or if I eat like after 5, or I do have some alcohol, I'll instantly gain water weight. It has to be water weight, because I think over one weekend I gained 9 pounds. I lost it pretty quick the next week, because I went back to my good eating habit. But just think, if I wouldn't have, that's exactly what those foods do to me. So decisions, meanwhile, are made in a different part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex. But as soon as behavior becomes automatic, the decision-making part of your brain goes into a sleep mode of sorts. So that's interesting, isn't it? So I guess, part of me going to the gym as much as I have, I don't have to think about it anymore. And also, like, if you go to work every day, same time, you don't even think, sometimes you don't even realize you've driven to work, because you're just into that way of doing things. It's automatic, right? In fact, the brain starts working less and less, says Duhigg. The brain can almost completely shut down. And this is a real advantage, because it means you have all of the mental activity you can devote to something else. So that's why it's easy, while driving or parallel parking, let's say, to completely focus on something else, like the radio or conversation you're having. I don't know if, so oftentimes when I go on a road trip, I'll take audiobooks. And man, does that help pass the time, because I'm listening, but I'm still able to focus on where I'm going and driving. Studies have shown that people, you can do these complex behaviors without being mentally aware of it at all, he says. And that's because of the capacity of our basal ganglia to take a behavior and turn it into an automatic routine. Boy, that just reminds me how freaking intelligent we are as human beings. Our brains are, we should be. Our brains are so incredible. So incredible. And what I don't remember the statistics of that we don't even use even a tenth of our capacity, maybe. Maybe I don't know if that's it, but I know it's not as much as we can. And that's the moving forward thing. Developing your spirituality and working on yourself constantly is using the brain to its capacity. Studies have shown that people will perform automatic behaviors like pulling out of a driveway or brushing your teeth the same way every single time if they're in the same environment. But if they take a vacation, it's likely that behavior will change. So you'll put your shoes on in a different order without paying any attention to it. Because once the cues change, patterns are broken up. That's one of the reasons why taking a vacation is so relaxing, because it helps break certain habits. So, that's kind of something to think about. So, although we do all these habits, it's strange how taking a vacation, me anyway, I get into this automatic relaxed mode because, yay. So it's not hard to break those habits you've been doing every day, right? All of a sudden it seems easy to just go on vacation, and because we know we're relaxing. So although breaking other habits is difficult, so that's very interesting. It's also a great reason why changing a habit on a vacation is one of the proven most successful ways to do it, he says. So that's interesting. If you want to quit smoking, you should stop smoking while you're on vacation, because all your old cues and all your old rewards aren't there anymore. So you have this ability to form a new pattern and hopefully be able to carry it over into your life. I don't know. I mean, thinking about that, I kind of think that would be stressful. I'm going on vacation. I'm going to stop eating all these kinds of food. That's when we eat those kinds of food. Or I don't smoke, but if I did, I'm going to stop. I think I would be stressed out. I mean, okay, I understand the logic behind it, that it's a good time to do it, but I don't know. I don't know about that. So I find this pretty interesting, marketing habits. It's not just individual habits that become automated. There are studies that show organizational habits from among workers working for the same company. And companies themselves exploit habit cues and rewards to try to sway customers, particularly if customers themselves can't articulate what pleasurable experience they derive from a habit. Yeah, I think we've known for years that our marketing people, our corporations, have figured us out. They know how to market to us. And it's so intelligent. So many intelligent things they do. I mean, it was back in the 40s, 50s that all of a sudden, was it the sugar companies? I don't know. They decided fat was bad, and so they took it all out, put sugar and wheat in, and now we're all fat because of it. We all have these really bad, all kinds of things going on with our body. I think, for me, my hormones got all messed up from it. So, and I was hungry constantly because I didn't have any fat in my diet. They told us to stop eating fat and do these. So I starved myself all the time until I found the keto diet. I'll tell you what, I don't eat hardly anything. I just don't need it. Like, I'm full all the time. Crazy. Okay, so companies themselves exploit habit cues and rewards to try to sway customers, particularly if customers themselves can't articulate what pleasure experience they derive from the habit. So companies are very, very good, better than consumers themselves, at knowing what consumers actually are craving, right? As an example, he points to Febreze, a Procter & Gamble fabric odor eliminator that initially failed when it got to the market. That's interesting, huh? They thought that consumers would use it because they were craving getting rid of bad scents, he says, and it was a total flop. People who had 12 cats in their home, oh, yikes. I have one, and I got to figure out what I'm going to do when we go mobile, because we're going to all be, owie, kitty. We're going to all be traveling in my little 24-foot RV, a kitty and a dog, and my kitty likes to scratch on things, and she can't do that in there. And then also, what about going potty? I don't like it, but I'll figure it out. So, okay, so 12 cats? No. Oh, goodness. So, people who had 12 cats in their home smelled terrible. They wouldn't use Febreze. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a weird example, I feel like. I hope a bunch of people don't have 12 cats, but so I guess because of that, Procter & Gamble reformatted Febreze to include different scents. I don't know if any kind of scent's going to get rid of 12 cat smell. As soon as they did that, people started using it at the end of their cleaning habits to make things smell as nice as they could. And what they figured out is that people crave a nice smell when everything looks pretty. So I will use the plug-in things. I love the apple cinnamon. It's wonderful. Now, no consumer would have said that, but companies can figure this out, and that's how they can make products work, right? They do constantly do works on how to sell and market. That's everything. Companies can also figure out how to get consumers to change their old habits, form new ones associated with their products or stores. That's crazy. Okay, so the mega store Target, for example, tries to target pregnant women in order to capture their buying habits for the next few years. Makes sense. That makes sense. The biggest moment of flexibility is our shopping habits, is when we have, the biggest moments of flexibility in our shopping habits is when we have a child. Yeah. And it's pretty well known. When I did take marketing, I was in my undergrad is business. When I was in the marketing piece of it, it was just unreal how much marketers target kids in the family now, because kids usually can talk their parents into buying things, especially electronics nowadays. Holy moly. Okay, so the biggest moment of flexibility in our shopping habits is when we have a child, because all of your old routines go out the window and suddenly a marketer can come in and sell you new things. Yes. So analysts at Target collect terabytes of information on its shoppers. They have figured out that women who buy certain products, vitamins, unscented lotions, washcloths, might be pregnant, crazy, and then can use that information to jumpstart their marketing campaign. This can get tricky. One father was upset after receiving coupons for baby products in the mail from Target addressed to his teenage daughter. Ooh, yikes. Yikes. He went in and said, "My daughter is 16 years old. Are you trying to encourage her to get pregnant?" And the manager apologizes. The manager calls a couple days later and the father says, "I need to apologize. I had a conversation with my daughter, and it turns out there's something going on in my house that I wasn't aware of. She is due in August." So Target figured it out before her dad did. That's sort of scary in ways, isn't it? They must have been, so they knew. Gosh, I know. It's incredible how much of what we do in the habits that we have and our shopping habits, and even on here, our habits or Facebook, it's very incredible how I'll go shopping or something, and then all of a sudden I see all these, or I'll be on Facebook talking about something. All of a sudden, all these ads pop up about what I've just been talking about. Unless I just noticed them more, because I did notice when I went to shop for an RV, a Gander RV, by the way, in Pocatello, Idaho. For some reason, I started hearing all their, I'm like, I haven't heard of you guys before. Then after that, I must have heard 3 or 4 ads. So maybe I was more aware of it as well. So let's see. What we know from lab studies is that it's never too late to break a habit. So habits are malleable throughout your entire life. But we also know that the best way to change a habit is to understand its structure. That once you tell people about the cue and the reward and you force them to recognize what those factors are in a behavior, it becomes much, much easier to change. And that's me too. Like, I know that I work through the week and by Friday I'm ready to party, whatever. I mean, I'm not a huge partier, but like it could be just having a nice cup of coffee after 12 noon or something for me to party. But it makes me want to go have dinner and a drink though, and I can't do it. So I knew watching what I was doing and how it blows my diet on the weekend. I had to figure that out and stop it. I felt like I had a lot of habits that I was powerless over. Do you ever feel that way? I do. I do. I did for years. And part of my eating was finding a diet that I was full on. So I didn't think about food all the time. Like, I never think about it anymore. I can fast very easily and not be hungry. I don't think about it the way I used to. So I have a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old. This is the author talking. And I remember when my 3-year-old was 1.5 or 2, I was writing the book. We would feed him chicken nuggets or other stuff for dinner, which was the only stuff he would eat. And it was impossible for me to stop from reaching over and grabbing his chicken nuggets. For me, that's French fries. If some of the kids, I don't ever have French fries, but it's like one of my, that and chips. If one of the kids had French fries, I would be going, ooh, yummy. It was a struggle every night not to eat his dinner because a 2-year-old dinner is designed to taste delicious and to disintegrate into your mouth into carbs and sugar. And so I was really interested in this, and I wanted to exercise more, and I wanted to be more productive at work. That's probably not the best thing to feed kids anyway. But I growing up, we didn't think about that. This is on rewards. The weird thing about rewards is that we don't actually know what we're actually craving. And some of the foods, almost a lot of them, like chicken nuggets and fries and things like that, and stuff loaded with sugar, which almost everything is now to make it taste good, actually makes your body, you're burning glucose, and when the glucose hits your body, I don't know the whole legal terms of it, it makes you start craving more. Same with drinking and all those things. You start automatically craving more, and that's when you start thinking about food. So that's burning glucose, but when you turn to ketones, it doesn't do that. It burns body fat. So our spirituality and habits. So this is when Alcoholics Anonymous AA started, there was no scientific basis to it whatsoever. In fact, there's no scientific basis to AA. The 12 steps that are kind of famous, everybody probably knows. There's AA, Al-Anon, I think there's a lot of them. Weight Watchers Anonymous. There's all kinds. I mean, there's tons. And most of them follow the 12 12 steps process. So the reason why there's 12 of them, so the 12 steps that are kind of famous. The reason why there's 12 of them is because the guy who came up with it, who wrote them one night while he was sitting on his bed, I think it was Dr. Bob, if I'm not mistaken. He chose them because there's 12 apostles. So if anybody's ever been to AA or any of them, the Weight Watchers, Al-Anon, any of those things, you'll know that it's pretty biblical. It's not, depends on the meeting you go to, but a lot of them are held at churches and stuff. So there were 12 apostles. There's no real logic to how AA was designed, except everything I read, it was a very spiritual awakening for Dr. Bob. So, but the reason why AA works is because it essentially is this big machine for changing the habits around alcohol consumption and giving people a new routine rather than going to a bar or drink. It doesn't seem to work if people do it on their own. So it sounds like you almost have to be accountable. At some point, if you're changing a really deep-seated behavior, you're going to have a moment of weakness. And at that moment, if you can look across the room and think, Jim's kind of a moron. I think I'm smarter than Jim. But Jim has been sober for 3 years. And if Jim can do it, I can definitely do it. That's enormously powerful. Okay, so, all right. So that's the thing about habits and how they start. And how you can break them if you need to. But it also has a lot to do with consistency, right? Consistency and routine and things like that. That's how it seems to be how our mind is wired, is we are creatures of habit. We seem to, whether good or bad, we fall into that. And I want to dig deeper into the neuroscientology part of it. And I think it'd be very, very interesting. So this is 18 reasons why a daily routine is so important. All of us are aware that kids need a routine to provide structure and discipline in their lives. Yeah, man. Just like it makes me think back about when the kids were little and how important it was for them to have their naps. When they're really tiny every 4 hours, but when they're, 2s or 3s, they need to have their nap, because if they don't, they either get really wired or really cranky. And we're the same way. When we were younger, most of us were told to go to bed at a certain time, wake up at a certain time, do our homework after school, eat dinner at a regular hour, shower, even play with our friends at a specific time. But what about adults? Many grown-ups do not have a set daily routine and wing their day. So I have a pretty good routine. So since I semi-retired from the university, I always told myself, okay, you're going to be home, but to build a business, you have to be very disciplined. And so, although I don't go to the gym as early as I did, 4:30 a.m., I still go I get up by 4:45 and I'm to the gym by 6. Except Monday, I was a little late. But I won't let myself do that. So I will not let myself slip into a sloppy routine, because if I don't stay consistent, I'm not going to achieve the goals I've already set up for myself. So I did have somebody at the gym the other day I was talking to, and they're like, well, what are you still going early for? You're, well, they said retired, but I'm not. And I'm like, but I'm not. I'm building my business. And if I don't stay consistent with these positive habits, my business isn't going to go anywhere. I'm not going to make bodybuilding competition in the summer if I don't stay with it. My house is not going to get remodeled. And now I'm on a time crunch. If I don't get it done in a couple weeks, I've got to get it on the market. Then my house isn't going to sell. And then I'm not going to be able to hit the road with Dr. Mom Mobile, which I plan on the end of May. So you have to be consistent. If I wasn't consistent on here when I said I'm going to be on here and I'm going to do these certain videos, you guys wouldn't know when to come on and help me build this business, right? So if I haven't said so, make sure you subscribe, like, and ring the bell. That's a habit. I got to keep saying that, because those things help build my business, because I have to get to a certain number. I think it's 1,000 subscribers. I've got a long ways to go, but that's okay. Before I can start getting paid for it, because I have to support myself, so I have to build this business, and I'm going to do a 21-day challenge that should keep me going until I can get more followers on here. And let me know if you like what I'm talking about. If you want to talk about something else, leave feedback. I haven't been getting a lot yet, but make comments. So, okay, let's see. That was a sidestep. Okay. They have no idea. So they're saying many grown-ups don't have a routine and wing their day. They have no idea what they're going to do when they wake up each morning, because they have not thought about creating a schedule to adhere to. Now, I don't know. So I feel like the majority of people probably have to go to work every day. And so I think they probably have more of a schedule. I kind of think younger parents probably have a bigger schedule than we ever did when I was had young children, because they're going like my kids are going like mad. Their kids are in everything, all the sports. It's incredible. So I don't know if I agree with that. So as a result, many people feel that they are stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, and falling short of their goals and true potential. You might be overwhelmed if they have too much things going on. The answer lies in carefully designing a routine that works best for each of us, one which helps us be productive, in control, and be the best person we can be. I used to view having a routine as being boring, rigid, and stifling, and I know that many people share this view. They live their lives in a capricious and whimsical manner, believing that it frees them somehow. On the contrary, I have learned that designing and adhering to a personal daily routine is a path to freedom, productivity, happiness, and fulfilling our true potential. Here is why all of us would be better off with a set routine. So I don't know, maybe that's a lot of why I'm doing Dr. Mom moving forward. I guess I didn't think people were not planning out their day. I guess I'm not, I haven't seen that firsthand, but. So he gives us several steps, and I'm going to just name the steps. Oh, several, yes. 18, in fact. So one is make us more efficient. Set routine makes us more efficient. Consistency is what I'm talking about. So when I say that, it's also a routine. Being in a routine, being consistent. So it makes us more efficient, reduces our need to plan, creates structure. That's the foundation piece I'm talking about in our lives. Saves time, our most valuable resource, which seems like no one has time anymore, does it? Installs good habits, breaks bad habits, helps us become more proficient, helps us get the most important tasks done. Prioritization reduces the need for determination and willpower. Well, that's a good one. Reduces procrastination, builds momentum, builds self-confidence, saves us money, helps reduce stress and facilitate relaxation, frees up our time, helps us achieve our goals, and keeps track of our success. So that's pretty good. Makes us more efficient. Let's see, when we have a routine that we follow daily, it reduces the need to make decisions each day. It enables us to know exactly what tasks we need to do each day without having to contemplate. When we finished with one task, we know what comes next. I guess that's true. So part of my goal setting for me is I make myself for the first half of the day, and I actually got, I think Ed Milet on, I think it was Ed Milet. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to write this down because I want to post it. So Ed Milet and Huberman. Ed Milet was talking about how as an entrepreneur, a lot of people think, oh, geez, I own my own business now. I don't have to work. But he's talking about, no, you have to work more. So you should always get, the way he does it, I don't necessarily, well, I do in ways, but he's saying work on your business for 6 hours one day, and the next day from like 6 to noon, the next day noon to 5, and then later at night. I don't necessarily do that. I make myself work on this business from when I get home from the gym, which is usually about 8 or 9, to when I finish certain tasks. So I have made myself get a video done so it's ready to go, and then it should go out about 1 o'clock. And then I also have to work on my curriculums, which I already pretty much have done, and then my web page. After I get those things done, which is hopefully by noon, then I can work on my house remodel project. Now, some of the website stuff has got pushed back because I have to get my house done. I ordered my cabinets now, or I'm sorry, countertops now, so I have to finish leveling the cabinets, and there's just a lot to it. So I've had to readjust, but I guess that's true. It makes us more efficient. Like I don't have to think about it every day. I do have a routine. Reduces our need to plan, same thing, right? I've already got it planned out. And so that's why I said goal setting is so important. Like if you set goals up, then you have to achieve them at a certain, like goals and timelines and things like that. So create structure in our lives. Yes, it does give me a foundation. It helps me build a strong foundation because I keep repeatedly doing these things. Saves time so I don't have to plan it. I know I get a lot done in a day because I have it all structured. Goal. Not that I don't have fun. So there's times, and I've noticed since I've been home, semi-retired from the university, that I actually do take more time speaking with people, talking with them, and just really enjoying people. At the gym, I have a favorite restaurant I go to in the morning. I only let myself go there once a week. One, it's too expensive, and it does take up an hour or so. So I still have more time, but I do allow myself more time to enjoy people because I really enjoy people. It's part of my personality. Installs good habits. Yep, it does install good habits. If you consistently do it, if you stay with the good habits, then you're improving. So it breaks bad habits. Yes, that's what I was talking about. If I go to the restaurant too much or drink, you're spending too much money, and my health, it really hurts my health. So it helps to become more proficient. Yep, I get a lot done. Helps us get the most important tasks done in order. We also set priorities. Reduces the need for determination, willpower. Reduces procrastination, right? Yes, especially when I'm writing. Writing the curriculum was it was like a hard thing to do for some reason. I don't know. When I write, I have to set it up in a very organized order for me to get, because I'm not one of those, I love to write people. I'm more of the concrete writers. I have to set an outline up. When I used to do papers all the time, and even my dissertation, I had to set it up in an outline. And then I would finish things in order, and then I would fill it in. That's how I write. So I had to do the curriculum that way. And it was hard for me. It was grueling. Okay, so builds momentum, that it does. I feel good. And Dr. Huberman would say, the dopamine in my brain is kicking in because I achieved a goal. Just by starting it, the dopamine is improving in your brain. So build self-confidence because I did it. The more I do these, the more I do what I say I'm going to do every day, the more I accomplish my goals, I'm getting more confident. So going into my house remodel and I'm doing my flooring myself, plank flooring. I didn't have a lot of confidence at going in. I'll tell you now, I have a lot more. Like I have a lot of confidence in that. And it's not just in the area of home improvement. It made me understand that I actually am very good at figuring things out. When it comes to wiring a house, putting up cabinets, repairing a garage door opener, all those things are giving me more confidence because I figured it out. It saves us money. Saves us money, true. I have to think about that one. How's that? Has it saved me money? Not sure. Not sure. I'm sure it has. Just got to figure out in what way. Helps reduce stress. Yep. Frees up our time. Yes. Helps us achieve our goals. Most definitely. And keeps track of our success. Yep. That's consistency. Very, very good list of habits of, let's see, what was the title? Habits and how they form and how to, no, that was the wrong one. Whoopsie. That wasn't breaking. I don't think that's breaking habits. Oh, why our daily routine is so important. So it's, and that goes with consistency. By being consistent, which is a routine, which we're creatures of habit, I am, helps us be successful. So when we slack off and fail to follow our predetermined routine, it is a clear sign that we are falling short. It's an excellent way to monitor our progress. We can make adjustments and get back to following our personal routines while having the confidence that we are on the right track. Each of us is different and have different goals, needs, desires, and resources. That's why it's important to develop our own routine after carefully deciding what we want to achieve in our lives. And so that's what, moving forward is all about. And that's why building a foundation, setting goals, working on ourselves all the time helps us to move forward. We don't need to procrastinate. We don't need to not achieve our goals because doing all this work helps us to move forward. Whether it's daily or weekly or monthly or by the hour even, doing things like this help us to move forward. So consistency, in my opinion, is definitely the key, whether it's breaking old habits or making new ones. Consistency is everything. So, and it's also about building trust, right? That's the first quote we had. Trust is built with consistency. So success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success. Greatness will come. We are what we consistently do. Choose your habits wisely because they define you. Consistency is what transforms average into excellence. So that's what I got for today. I thought that was a really good one. So please make sure if you like this, well, even if you don't, darn it, just subscribe anyway. You're going to eventually like something I put out. I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to keep working. The only way I know what you like or what you want me to post on, I mean, as long as it goes with, moving forward or any of my other series, bodybuilding, or, tune into some of the other ones. Spread the word. I'm going to stay on here. I'll keep moving and growing, and I hope that you're enjoying what I have to say. So I'm going to get better once I have more time to do more research. I don't have to read as much. So, all right, I have to get moving. Hasta la vista, baby. Much love to everyone. Have a super Tuesday, and I will be tuning in tomorrow at 1 o'clock.